This week, the world's greatest heroes are going to be stepping into dangerous territory with Justice League Red. To match this energy, we've cracked open a beer that's dark, punchy, and a little bit mysterious. Welcome back to Craft Beer Comics. Welcome back, Justice Leaguers and IPA junkies, to another episode of Craft Beer Comics. I'm your host, Harry, and this week we are taking a look at the new Justice League Red. This is the complete volume, so these are issues 1 through 6. So this one is done by Saladin Ahmed and Clayton Henry, who I believe have done... Saladin Ahmed has written Black Bolt, that's pretty notable, Exiles, Quicksilver, Amazing Spider-Man. He's also done Harley Quinn, Black, White and Red. I think that's all he's done for DC, is the Harley Quinn one. So this is possibly his second DC outing. And it's a pretty solid comic, to be honest. This one stars Red Tornado, Power Girl, Green Lantern, Cyborg, Deadman, and Red Canary. And let me read you the description. The Justice League has a new Spec Ops team so covert that the founders can't know about it. And its leader is the only hero who can keep it off the League's radar, because he is the radar. Red Tornado is the heart and mind of the Watchtower, and his projections point to apocalypse as a direct result of the concentrated power of the JLU. When your Justice League ID card lights up red, he needs you. For the fate of humanity, and for yourself, you'd better answer the call, because you don't want to find out what Red can do with what he knows about you. So what really caught my attention with this comic is the roster, to be quite honest. Red Tornado is one of those characters that, usually side character, usually doesn't have a very big part to play in anything. He's always kind of in the background of Justice League comics, and that's kind of where he stays. So having a story that's kind of centered around him is pretty great. Who else have we got? Power Girl. I know she's in the Action Comics series, and she pops up in Superman every now and then, but I personally don't read a lot or see a lot with her in. I believe she had her own solo series fairly recently. I think the last thing I saw Power Girl in was probably some old JSA comics by Jeff Johns. So she's pretty up there in this comic. She's probably the leading hero on this. Everyone else is kind of a side character. Green Lantern Simon Baz, yet again another character who's popped up here and there in other comics. It's been a little while since he had his own sort of thing going on. So it's nice to see him back. Cyborg, like Red Tornado, always sort of dicking about in the background. And then the other two are Deadman, who is one of the supernatural heroes of the DC universe, who you don't see him a great deal, but he's really cool. He's a really, really cool character. His thing is that he's effectively a ghost that can possess people, and his kind of curse was that he can never interact or speak with a living person directly, I believe. I may be wrong on that. But he's back in this, and he's got quite a big role, to be fair. And the other hero is Red Canary. I could not tell you anything about Red Canary. Truth be told, I know of Black Canary, both of them, the old one and the new one. But Red Canary is totally new to me. I don't know if she's been created just for this, or has been in other comics before. The way it's all set out makes it seem like she's been in other comics before. But I have yet to read those, to be honest. So I'm not going to give too many spoilers for this one, because I'd say it's definitely worth a read. It's got a couple of twists, a couple of turns. It's not as dark as I was kind of hoping it would be. When you get told that you're reading a comic book that's effectively Justice League Black Ops, it's pretty exciting. You kind of presume you're going to be getting a darker storyline. And to a degree, you do. There's a lot of twists and turns, and things aren't necessarily what they seem. There's betrayal, there's intrigue, there's mystery. It's all kind of there, but I feel like they're not leaning into it as much as they possibly could have done, and then had a better series because of it. I believe this was restricted to 6 issues. Yeah, again, sometimes with 6 issues you can tell a really good story. Sometimes you can't. And I feel like this one it's mostly good. It's mostly good. My only issue with it is that I kind of want more. I would have loved if this was an ongoing series, or even if it had 12 issues to it. maybe 18. That would have been good, just to sort of get a little bit more out of it. I feel like they're just getting started. And to be fair, like the last line of the comic is Power Girl saying to Red Canary, come on, we're just getting started. And then it ends and that's it. There's nothing more, which is a classic comic book thing. I don't know if it was a case of it didn't sell well, or if they were thinking that it was always going to be just 6 issues. Maybe it would come back later on. I'm not really sure, but yeah, this is obviously coming out alongside Justice League Unlimited, which is another great comic book. I might cover it on a podcast, I'm not sure. Yeah, I just want more of it. The writing is good. Some of the dialogue feels a little bit janky here and there. I'd say where things really shine is between Power Girl and Red Tornado. I think that those moments of dialogue are really, really strong. They're great. There's lots of little things happening here and there within the story that tug on emotional heartstrings and everything. And the interactions that come out of that are fantastic. My main sort of criticism, I suppose, comes from the dialogue from the other characters. Deadman barely speaks, which is kind of explained, so you can kind of get away with that. But it does kind of feel like the writer of this has never read a Green Lantern comic with Simon Baz in it. And maybe he's looked at like the wiki notes on Simon Baz, Green Lantern, and gone from there. Because the comic book kind of portrays him as a moron. Like, he's wielding one of the most powerful weapons in the universe on his finger. And they kind of treat him like he's, almost like he's a kid, with some of the dialogue options. And just the way he talks to the rest of the Justice League Red is kind of... It's lines I would expect coming out of Teen Lantern. Or John Stewart's little sister. She's popped up recently and she's a kid and he kind of talks like her. And it doesn't... I'm a big Green Lantern fan, so I get a little bit defensive, to be honest. But it's sort of like, he's... Out of all the Green Lanterns in recent years, especially New 52 and Rebirth, Simon Baz has gone through quite a lot and could be quite a dark character. Not in terms of like evil or anything, but just in terms of, the way he's experienced the world. And it kind of alludes to that in Justice League Red. But then it's like it immediately drops it. And it's like, oh, that's kind of too serious for this. I can't be bothered. But it's supposed to be a serious comic book. So yeah, there are some issues there for me personally. You're going to have to excuse me for this episode. Here in the UK, it's about 34, 35 degrees. So we are absolutely melting. So my brain is destroyed. I'm gonna give it my best shot this week, and we'll see if I live through it. So yeah, other positives of this are that for the most part, just going off of Green Lantern again, the constructs he uses are creative, which is always nice to see. There's a lot of creativity with what they do with Cyborg. Like to be honest, more than Green Lantern. There's a lot of him changing his body to fit the situation. Like he gets like jetpack wings at some point, and then he changes his arms into cannons, which I know is a Cyborg thing, but they do a lot with him, which is cool, which is really, really cool. Story that's going on between Red Tornado and False Antagonist is really interesting. It feels like there's kind of a few little plot holes, maybe. Just a couple of things that aren't explained necessarily, but if you ignore those, it's fine. It's good. The artwork is nice. I'm going to sound like I'm being critical, and like I always say, I couldn't do any better myself. However, the artist they've chosen for this is a very safe bet. There's not really anything too distinctive about his style. It's good. It's Justice League art. It works. It's the same sort of art you would have seen in late New 52, early Rebirth. Clayton Henry has also worked on Action Comics in the past, which is where I recognised him from. And yet again, it's another safe sort of bet. I feel like sometimes they don't lean into more stylized art styles because, if someone goes into a comic book shop and they see the words Justice League Red, what immediately sticks out is the words Justice League, and you think, oh, well, that's a big IP, isn't it? Maybe I'll go for that. And, maybe it's your first time picking up a comic book and something really stylized throws you off a bit. So I think DC tend to go for safe, quote-unquote, artists. To make it a little bit more digestible would be my guess. I'm not really sure. I don't know how it works in terms of who they choose to go on what project. I feel like they could have lent into the dark side of this more, this comic, with art and with story. But, I do understand that it's tricky. You've only got 6 issues, especially for the writer. You've only got 6 issues to do it in. So, you can't make anything, I don't know, Mr. Miracle or Krakoa level. Do you know what I mean? It's you don't have the time to do that. And I expect he's working on another project as well. And, a 6-issue run compared to probably an ongoing run isn't the top of your list, I wouldn't think. But nonetheless, it's a good story. It's a good story with a little twist that I didn't necessarily see coming and wasn't unwelcome. So, yeah, Justice League Red. Art is good. It's safe. The story is good. It's a little bit different. Could have been more. Absolutely could have been more. So I'm going to give it an IGN 7. And would I recommend it if you saw it in the shop? Yeah, sure. I mean, I think I paid like £12-13 for this. I'm not sure what that is in dollars, but it wasn't that expensive. It's not huge, but it's not tiny. It's kind of average length, I think. I think it's probably like 120, 130 pages. So it's the same as most other volumes for DC. So yeah, IGN 7. Let me know what you think of it in the comments below. If you agree with me, let me know. If you disagree with me, let me know. All opinions are welcome. But moving on to something that I think goes down quite nicely with the red theme and the sort of mysterious, sexy Black Ops vibe. So our beer this week is a cherry sour from Polly's Brewery. Let me give you a little description for this that Polly's have on their website. A love story 5 years in the making finally reaches its apex. Our first ever sour beer has grown up and become part of our core range. A labour of love for our sour beer wizard Lally? That's an odd name. We'd always maintained previously that we'd never tempt to style unless we worked with a brewery that knew what they were doing, or we'd bring someone on board comfortable with it. To have elevated one of our sour beers to regular brew status shows just how much faith we have in our fruit-forward output, and cherry does exactly what it says on the tin. Sweet Morello cherries dance alongside gentle sourness with a slight savoury edge. That's a pretty good description. To be perfectly honest, it is 4.5%, so not tiny but not huge. So this beer I had recently, and I have never had a Polly's beer before. And safe to say, I was really impressed by this. It's difficult to get a sour which has a strong flavour such as cherry and not have it sort of taste like cherry Coke. It's difficult to get, that fruity flavour without the beer aspect of it kind of interfering too much. But Polly's nails it with this one. It's a really light, easy sour. It is a sour. It definitely is. However, compared to a brewery like Vault City, it's nowhere near as sour as that. This is very, very easy to drink. I'd say it's sour in the same way that like Fanta is sour. It's barely there, but you get a little tingle on the tongue. But it's delightful. My wife, who doesn't like sours at all, tried this and liked it a lot. Friend of the podcast, Kian, from over at Yeah What Of It, gave him a bit. He tried it and he liked it as well. And he's got a firm stance that he doesn't like fruit at all. So the fact he liked Polly's cherry sour is, well done, Polly's. You've converted someone who doesn't like fruit to liking your fruit sour. Nice job. This one, it does what it says on the tin. It's a nice sour, very easy to drink. I'd say it would go really nicely with a tiramisu or a nice slice of dark chocolate cake. It would go really nice with that. Having it on a summer night when it's 34, 35 degrees, maybe. It might be a bit much though. But it sounds, from that description I read a minute ago, it sounds like they've really put a lot of thought into this, and it does show. It does show, and they've done a very good job with it. If I see it again, I will definitely be picking it up. And I will most likely also be picking up their other beers. I'm on their website right now, and I've never heard of them, and I've never really checked them out. So I'm trying to have a quick look, see what else they do. From the looks of it, they do a lot of pale ales, IPAs, basic lagers. Doesn't look like they do anything that is too out there. The labels look fantastic though. You see a lot of labels where there's a lot of wasted space, but these labels have got it all going on. Vibrancy throughout, to be quite honest. Very impressive labels. Very nice. Polly's, if you want to reach out and recommend any of your beers, give me a shout. I'd love to try some more. Very impressed. This one, I'm going to give an 8.5. We'll give this one. It does what it says on the can. To be honest, it's a little bit sour. The cherry flavour is very light. It's very easy. Yeah, there's not a great much more to say about it. Would I have another one? Absolutely. Would I recommend it if you saw it in a shop? 100%. Could it do a little bit more? Maybe it could. I'm not really sure. I'm not a brewer myself. Would I like it if the cherry flavour was a bit more punchy maybe? That might be nice. But also, this is their first sour. You do want to make sure it's to everyone's tastes. Yeah, 8.5 for Polly's there. Nice job, guys. So that concludes this episode of Craft Beer Comics Justice League Red, coming in with an IGN 7. Great little story overall. Played it safe though, with the art and with the story. Could they have done more? Could they have gone a bit more in depth? Could they have made things a bit more individual? Maybe they could have done. But also, it's only 6 issues. There's only so much you can do with that. Polly's Cherry Sour, an 8.5. A delightful little number. Does what it says on the tin. Could have done more. Maybe. But to be fair, it's cherry sour. Not much more to it. If you've enjoyed this episode, please remember to like, share, subscribe, all of that shit. We are a new podcast. There's no secret backing. There's no money coming into this from anywhere. It's just me in my office talking about what I love. So any interaction, any sharing, any criticism, any suggestions would be more than welcome. And if there's a comic book you want me to check out or a beer that I should try, leave it down in the comments and I'll get back to you. It might pop up on the show. Thank you very much for listening to another episode. I have been your host, Harry, and this has been another Craft Beer Comics. We'll catch you next time.